We are here and we are strong. Let's be counted as we move on. Make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful. We are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.
Hello there, good people. I hope that you are having a fantastic time and enjoying yourselves as well. Welcome on board. This is Able Differently, a program like no other.
In the past few weeks, we have been part of events focusing on persons with disabilities and have international impact. That is what we are going to focus on today. I am John Muriuki.
I'm Ruth Mweni. Welcome.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
The media fraternity plays a critical role in addressing issues concerning persons with disabilities. It is upon this basis that Leonard Cheshire Kenya organized a meeting with the media personalities on addressing issues concerning persons with disabilities. Take a look.
On the 15th of November 2019, Leonard Cheshire organized a meeting with the media in order to discuss on how best stories on disability can be covered and documented.
For this meeting that we had with the media personalities, it was basically to have a round table and start engaging them and see how we can be able to bring them together so that they can be able to now report on matters disability, and also how we can be able to equip them and also build their capacity.
Sophie Morgan, a British journalist and Leonard Cheshire Goodwill Global Ambassador, was the main speaker, and she shared her experience.
So when I was 18 years old, I had a car crash which broke my spine, and that's why now I use a wheelchair. So the purpose of today was to meet journalists from Kenya to talk about how to better represent disabled people, both in the media and in print and television in general, to talk about how to use language, what kind of language to use, how to tell the stories right, how to find the people, and to tell a little bit about my experience from the UK, which has similarities in terms of the ways in which disabled people have been treated and represented, and what can we learn from each other.
The meeting was more of a discussion rather than a lecture, and journalists from Kenya also shared their experiences as they strive to cover disability-related stories.
I struggle because what happens in my institution, I have to get someone, they are not there with journalistic training. So what happens is you have to look for partnerships with the communication authority, with the media council, to try and now do a crash program on them to bring them up to speed with media ethics, media law and all that stuff. So probably also that is something that LC can consider, those persons with disabilities that would like to get into journalistic field, to do a crash for them with the accredited institutions like media council and communication authority.
When you are talking the stories, if you are not disability conscious, like someone who has done stories on disability like me, that's why you see stories in the newspapers, on television saying wheelbound.
Yeah, we have that too. Yeah.
Even if someone is successful, they have all men to see like an agreement guy dropping the hand.
Yeah.
So I want it was sensational story.
Yeah.
Because for the first time I've done with albinism was number one. You see, that was the story.
Mainstreaming has become, I think, a good sign that basically disability is becoming more integrated in society and on television and just as a whole.
Media representation of persons with disabilities was greatly discussed, with the need of having them cover other stories, unlike currently, where those with disabilities only cover disability issues. This meeting was brought up ahead of the Innovation to Inclusion Eye-to-Eye project that is coming up to ensure that persons with disabilities are empowered where technology is concerned.
Deserve the same as anyone else, and we just need to be given the opportunity to be educated and to get a job and to be given the same access to places, and whether that's getting the right devices to enable us to be able to work. So I can do my job because I have a wheelchair. You know, if you give me the right wheelchair, I can do the same as anyone else. And those kind of attitudes, I think, are really important. And I think speaking to disabled people directly, if they're watching, they're really, unfortunately, they're not going to get given everything. You have to fight for what you need. But there are people out there that will help. Leonard Cheshire here is helping young women with disabilities, and it's extraordinary. You know, it's so amazing to watch. There are people that are listening, so just find those people, and the help is there.
We have a number of media volunteers. We probably have around 20, but we need more young disabled people often that are willing to tell their story. And I guess in a way they're a bit like the citizen reporters we met in Kenya, where we have a program called 2030 and Counting, where they will digitally tell stories either simply on their iPhone, through social media, through guys like you, the Citizen TV, with, you know, disabled TV. And I met Regina at the launch of this campaign about 2 years ago.
Yes.
When there was about 8 or 9 guys from Zambia, Kenya, and the Philippines. I think there's now well over 100 dotted around the same countries. And we're building up a body of storytelling that details the problems affecting young disabled people.
In order to achieve what I was talking about before, this very natural and honest integration of disabled people, is when we don't have to talk about disability at all. So we can talk about, so as a presenter, I can do a show about travelling. Now this is, for the average viewer watching who doesn't have a disability, they see a woman who's a wheelchair user travelling, flying, meeting people from around the world. That achieves so much in a positive way, so it overcomes the negative stories. Do you see? It's not about telling the story. It's not preaching at someone saying, look, I'm travelling. It's people watching go, oh, look, did you see that girl? She's a wheelchair user. She can travel, or she can be a presenter, or she can do this. And it shows people that there are positive stories that without having to tell them so explicitly. It's a subtle way of showing that people like me and people with disabilities can do the same as everyone else.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Welcome back. The Kenya Community Center for Learning organized a prom night to appreciate the 2019 graduates. Take a look.
On the 22nd November 2019, Kenya Community Center for Learning's second prom night was held at Safari Park Hotel to congratulate graduates of class 2019. This kicked off at 9 p.m. whereby the KCCL students started with entertainment as others were enjoying their dinner.
Today we are very excited to facilitate a prom event for our students, the graduating class of 2019. This is the second prom night. We started last year, the inaugural one was last year, and what inspired us to organize a prom event for our students was the need to feel that we needed to celebrate our students' achievements in a special and extraordinary way, considering that these are children who are probably disadvantaged in one way or another, because unfortunately there's no level playing ground for them, especially in education.
Amongst the people who attended the dinner was Sylvia, Miss Africa 2020, who was also a guest speaker.
This is not something that happens every day. I would love for this to be the norm in every school, every regular school, neurodiverse school, neurotypical school. All schools should be able to bring something together like this so that children feel appreciated and have that sense of inclusion like you've seen inside there. We have special needs children who have worked triple, double hard to get where they are right now. It is not easy as a parent of children on the autism spectrum and a special needs child. This gives me hope as a mother.
Most people who go through difficulties when handling children with special needs are parents because they devote their time and finances.
They have really been able to give them good technical knowledge which have helped them up to date, and those who are graduating from the school, they are getting places in other areas.
It's never easy to run such a great prom night event. It only requires commitment, determination and passion, especially for those able differently. There are, however, some of the main hurdles faced.
Identifying a suitable venue for our students. We have students with physical challenges, so accessibility for us was a key factor as we chose the venue. And when we approached Safari Park, because we were very confident that the environment is very, very suitable, accessibility, and all those factors put into consideration.
The event's goals and objectives were met thanks to various organizations that came together to make the day a success.
We also have the media, not forget Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, that has really worked with us and has been at the forefront of fostering very positive images and stories of persons who are differently talented. So we have our parents who have made it possible to have this event because they sponsor their children, they pay for the event, they dress the children for the event. So we have many partners. I may not thank them all, but we really appreciate their support.
Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Last week, Sense International and Action for Children with Disabilities launched its second strategic plan at the Kenya Institute of Special Education. The document focused heavily on children with multiple disabilities. Take a look.
In order to change the society's mindset on matters of children and youth with disabilities, a deliberate effort to do so has to come first from the key stakeholders. Action Network for Children with Disabilities, a consortium that has a vision to achieve an all-inclusive society where the rights of children and youth with disabilities are fulfilled, launched its second strategic plan at the Kenya Institute for Special Education, KISE.
This is our second strategic plan since the network started in 2013. And as you will come to note, is that our strategic plan is anchored on the right-based approach to advancing the rights of children. The strategic plan that we are launching today is a product of a consultative process that started early this year. We sought views from the executive and membership on where we want to see SED in the next 5 years.
Stakeholders in the industry, including the Ministry of Education, were here to take part in this long-awaited launch.
We know there are those children who follow the regular program under inclusive education. However, we have children, and the children maybe we'll be talking about, those with multiple disabilities. They may not be able to follow the regular curriculum. However, we have said we shall not leave them behind. And as a result, we have developed some unique programs for them so that at the same time, they will become independent people in the country.
As a Teacher Service Commission, we appreciate the work done with our education partners, especially in sensitizing and capacity building our teachers.
While the government has achieved great strides in addressing matters concerning equitable education, children with disabilities still bear the brunt of discrimination in education. Those with multiple disabilities suffer even more.
Sense International is not going to implement the project alone. First, we have got to work with children, we have to work with their parents, we have to work with the Ministry of Education through its schools, because we are working in 6 counties and we will work with close to 100 schools. We have to work with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development to develop the curriculum for the teaching assistants, and then KISE will train those teachers. We have to work with the Ministry of Education through the Quality Assurance Directorate, because they will be going to schools to ensure actually that learners are receiving quality education.
ACD has commissioned studies on the situation of children with disabilities, which include policy landscape on inclusive education, among other issues related to provision of quality and equity education for children with special needs in Kenya.
We have many policies that have been passed that are inclusive. So I've talked about the National Education Sector Plan, which was passed launched recently. We have the Education Act 2013, which is quite inclusive in nature. We have the competency-based curriculum, which really looks at the learner and focuses on the learner themselves, and they achieving on the basis of their own competency and ability. So from that perspective, there is much, but there are also big gaps, especially around the implementation of these policies, about the support and the resourcing of learners with disabilities. It's very expensive to support a learner with disabilities, so the government is not putting enough money to support learners with disabilities to access this quality education that should be a right that they should be enjoying.
The mission is to nurture every child's potential. So meaning that even our children with special needs, they have their own special needs, special potentials. So the purpose of education is to build the potential of our children. And my thinking is, when the CBC curriculum gets over to the university, we will have good children.
This second strategic plan will focus on 4 pillars, with the key pillar being laying the foundation for disseminating issues on quality life, inclusive education and lifelong learning for children and youth with disabilities.
This project yet again demonstrates the importance of partnership. As we speak, since International only has 7 staff, we don't have the capacity to develop a curriculum. We don't know how. KICD will be the one developing the curriculum. There's a partnership between SENSE and KICD. KICD has a mandate in terms of law to do that. So we are doing a standard and good curriculum through KICD. That's a partnership. KISE, its expertise is in training teachers. So we'll work with KISE to train those teaching support assistants. The Ministry of Education, you own the schools. We don't have any school. So we will work through the schools of the Ministry of Education to ensure that those learners with multiple disabilities are enrolled there.
Enrolled in schools. Currently, we are talking of about over 140,000. Over 140,000 learners with special needs and disabilities are enrolled in basic institutions. And the ministry takes seriously issues of inclusion and the disability mainstreaming, and does not stop at anything when it comes to including those learners.
'Cause we're differently abled, differently.
Let's take a look at the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Article 6 of the UN Convention states that state parties recognize that women and girls with disabilities are subject to multiple discrimination, and in this regard shall take measures to ensure the full and equal enjoyment by them of all human rights and fundamental freedoms.
Today in our etiquette, we are focusing on if you're not sure of how you should interact with a person with disability, just ask him or her if the person needs your help. Do not assume that they need the help.
Do not give assistance without asking first if they want it. That's all for today. Let's meet again next week, same time. I am John Murioki.
I'm Ruth Mweni.
Goodbye.